Welcome to the Community Memorial Health System Teaching Kitchen. My name's Abby, and I'm a registered dietitian here. And today I'm joined by Chef Justin and Dr. Eisner.
Hi.
Today we'll be talking about gut health and the role of a high-fiber diet. So, what are we making today, Chef?
Today, we're making a really nice, beautiful dish. We've got a spicy veggie tofu with the tahini dressing. We're gonna hit with a little bit more spice with some curry.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, it sounds really flavorful.
Should be really nice. Should we get started?
Yeah, we should get started.
Awesome. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take some olive oil in a nice warm pan on low medium heat. We'll go ahead and get that going. After you've got your pan a little warm, we're gonna go ahead and drop in our tofu. Now this is a medium tofu. You can get whatever you can find in the store. A medium, a soft, a firm, whatever you see fit. You're gonna wanna get something that has a little bit less water in it, just so you can get a nice golden sear on that.
I personally use a fair amount of tofu, and I find that if you don't get that water out of there, it just splatters all over me.
Oh, yeah. I personally like tofu as well. My daughter happens to be an avid tofu fan. She likes to call it French toast, believe it or not. She's 4 years old, so one of those fun things.
It's always good to get them started young, you know?
Yeah, it makes me worried about your French toast.
If only it was bad, I have to say. After that, we're gonna go ahead and drop in a little bit of our honey to get some nice glaze on the tofu. Now this is just about 2 ounces of honey. We're also gonna add in some sriracha. This is where the heat's gonna come into play.
Looks delicious.
And last but not least, a little bit of paprika. Now this is what's gonna give us our beautiful color on the tofu and ultimately gonna help us give us a nice sear.
Wow, Chef, I've never seen a sauce made in a pan like that before, and it really resulted in such a beautiful glaze on that tofu.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for teaching me something today.
It smells delicious.
Definitely a fun thing. So we'll go ahead and let that hang out. We've done flipped it over. So now we can let that other side get a sear. While that's going, we're gonna go ahead and get some of the other things ready for us.
All right.
So Doc, I'm gonna have you take the sweet potatoes.
All right. I wanted the avocado.
And we're gonna get that going. We're gonna go ahead and preheat our oven to 350. We're gonna toss our sweet potatoes with a little bit of curry powder and some olive oil, which I'll hand you here.
Thank you.
So you can go ahead and grab that big bowl there. We will take a little bit of olive and spoon.
Yeah. So, Dr. Eisner, why is fiber so important?
Well,
Why are we talking about this today?
Before I answer that question, what is my next step?
We're gonna drop the sweet potatoes inside.
All right, sounds good. This is more complicated than surgery.
You can drop the whole thing in there. Don't be bashful.
All right.
We got this.
So yeah, I mean, fiber is extremely helpful in preventing many diseases that I treat with surgery.
Mm-hmm.
You can have diverticulitis, which is a benign outpouchings from the colon. You get the stuff from the colon in there, it gets infected, you can have recurrent infections. Oftentimes what happens is debilitating enough that you either end up in the hospital with severe infections. And again, my job is essentially to remove that piece of the colon and put people back together, which is a very huge surgery. And if we had more fiber in our diet, it would be prevented. Half of people over 50 years old have the little outpouchings. So it's very common in the United States. Asian countries where they have higher fiber diets actually is less common than here in the United States.
Oh. Crazy to think that something as small or as big as fiber can make such a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, fiber is also really important for other systems of our body. It's helpful for lowering our cholesterol levels, controlling our blood glucose levels, and also helps to keep us full longer. So there's so many benefits to it, kind of systematically throughout our body. And it's also really something that's in a variety of different foods. So fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and different plant-based forms of protein. So.
Wasn't that a fun lot of information we just got in there? So now what Doc is here doing is he's mixing up our sweet potato with a little bit of olive oil and our turmeric spices. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw that into the oven again at 350 for about 35 minutes. And through the moving magic that we have, we should get products similar to this.
Is this console?
Right on the bottom. Yep, that's fine.
That's a really beautiful color, Chef.
Yeah, absolutely.
Turmeric does a nice job of coloring things up, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, who said a high fiber diet had to be boring?
Right. And as you guys may have noticed, we did use a white sweet potato. If you have access to any other colors, any sweet potato will be good. They all pretty much do the same thing in the oven.
I'd say nutritionally too, they're pretty similar. Both are packed with a ton of vitamins and minerals, and obviously lots of that fiber that we're talking a lot about today.
All right. So our next step is we're gonna go ahead and make our sauce, our finishing sauce for our
Okay.
dressing. So we're gonna go ahead and mix in all of our ingredients. We have lime juice, a little bit of mirin, which is just cooking oil. We have a little bit of vinegar, some tahini, and then lastly, a little bit of curry powder.
When I cook at home, I never pre-portion like this, so this is a treat.
And you don't have to do the dishes.
And I don't have to do the dishes.
Probably one of my favorite things about cooking, I have to say.
Should cook here more often.
Yeah. You know, more fun, beneficial things from fiber. A lot of people have actually hemorrhoidal disease from lack of fiber. Fiber accelerates GI motility. You get less constipation, and overall you be much happier. Most of my visits for things wrong with your bottom is me just telling people eat more fiber. And the first 3 visits, I just spent 10 minutes telling them eat more fiber. And by the 4th visit, they've tried more fiber and they finally agree that it was a good idea.
What are some other ways outside of the diet that you may suggest people get their fiber in?
That's a good point. Actually, my first recommendation is actually just try to take a little bit of extra soluble fiber you can get from they can get from anywhere, like your local health food store or even a big supermarket. You just put a big spoonful or a couple of fiber into some water, and it's a great supplement. Oftentimes in the United States, we're recommended 25 to 35 grams of fiber, and most people usually don't get more than 10. So a couple spoonfuls is a great way to add some fiber without having to make
Wow,
an effort.
25 to 35 grams of fiber, huh?
Yeah, and that may seem like a lot, but I think small changes, like Dr. Eisner was saying, such as getting a fiber supplement, and then also incorporating fiber into more of your daily meals and snacks. So maybe making eggs in the morning with some vegetables, or even like a yogurt bowl with some fruit in it is a great place to start at the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
So it's small changes like these that really add up and can help.
Yeah, or instead of white bread, try to get a whole grain bread.
Yeah.
Definitely one of my favorites. I like the whole grains.
Yeah. So yeah, what is a whole grain actually on that note? Most people don't really know. So there's 2 different types of grains you can find out there. So a whole grain incorporates all parts of the grain. So it's the outside, the inside, and the germ. A refined grain kind of removes parts of that, but also removes the fiber. So when you're out there shopping, looking for whole grains, whole wheat bread, brown rice, our quinoa today, and then some of the other newer grains on the market like bulgur, freekeh, and amaranth. Those are just some examples, of things that you can incorporate and also use in this dish.
And speaking of whole grains, we are actually using quinoa today in our dish. Actually, put that up in the front.
Where?
That's fine. We're also going to be adding some wilted cabbage and spinach to our dish.
Wow, those look delicious.
All right, and just to finish this all up, what I'm gonna have you do now, Doc, because you're so skilled, is I'm gonna have you cut an avocado.
All right, hopefully I won't embarrass myself.
Do you think the skills in the OR translate to the kitchen, Dr. Eisner?
Sadly, no. Unless I'm deboning a chicken. But otherwise, the vegetables don't really conform to human anatomy.
That's good to know for the rest of us non-surgical people.
Interesting, you were talking about whole grains. Actually, Hippocrates in the 3rd century was one of the first people to discover the benefits of fiber. When he looked at people's dietary habits, he looked at people who had whole grain versus a more refined grain, which is generally what the wealthier class had. And there was more constipation and GI issues in the wealthier class because they had more refined food. So he was one of the first people to discover that association.
Wow, what a fun fact.
Yeah, that's a really fun fact. I didn't even know that, and I'm supposed to know all the things about nutrition. Avocados are also a really great source of fiber. Not many people know that.
All right, and I think now we have all of our ingredients ready. We can go ahead and start plating.
All right.
Can you grab that plate?
So as you can see in front of us, there's lots of different examples of fiber here. We have vegetable, a whole grain, and our avocado. There's actually 2 types of fiber you want to be on the lookout for. There's soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. Now, what's the difference between the two? So soluble fiber is the soft parts of fiber. So imagine an apple. You have the hard exterior skin and the soft inside. So that soft inside is the soluble fiber. That's the fiber that helps keep you full and slow down your digestion to promote a slower release of food into your digestive system, and it helps to control the blood sugar and the cholesterol. The insoluble fiber is that outside of the apple, if you're imagining, so that roughage, and that's the stuff that keeps you going. The stuff that Dr. Eisner was referring to a little bit earlier, if you know what I mean. So there's lots of great examples here, and some foods have both soluble and insoluble fiber.
If I should have these passed in the spoon, please. There we go.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and get plated. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with a little bit of our quinoa as the base.
And this is one of those ancient grains that was only recently rediscovered, even though it's been around forever. I think it's from South America.
Yeah, it's Peru, native to Peru. And just like a lot of those other ancient grains that I was referring to, it's not like we discovered these, but I'm glad we're using them in our diet. So it brings a lot more variety than just brown rice and whole wheat bread.
Now this is gonna be our cabbage and spinach mixture. Just a little bit of wilting, just a nice little quick sear in a pan, a little bit of olive oil as well.
Do you think you can use other vegetables for that, Chef?
You could probably use just about anything you can find that is green or roughage in this grocery store. Just about anything will do just fine.
That's good to hear.
And last but not least, we're gonna go ahead and throw on our tofu. I wish I had something else to grab this with.
It certainly looks delicious though.
Oh,
And
the
that is-
plating skills.
Yeah.
Don't we wish we could all be a chef?
Yeah, you always hear that the visual aspect of food is half of the taste.
Yeah, well, this certainly makes me want to eat this dish.
Yeah.
All right, now if I can trouble you with another spoon. Doctor, what I'm gonna have you do is drop some of those sweet potatoes right over on the side here for me. And then we're gonna finish it up with a little bit of avocado. And then lastly, our dressing.
There's so many colors on this plate. I love it.
Yeah.
And that's one recommendation I'd make for helping to get you enough fiber in is really thinking about, a variety of color, a variety of different vegetables. It's a great way to think about making a meal.
Mm-hmm. And even using the my plate concept where it's essentially thirds, I think. You could better describe it.
Yeah, half your plate, fruits and vegetables. Just cut it right down the middle. We've got plenty on this plate. And about a quarter of the starch. So we've got our whole grain with our quinoa here and a little bit of the sweet potatoes. And then the rest of the quarter are protein. So we got that nice big piece of tofu there. So yeah, that's a great way to think about that. Thanks for reminding me of that, Dr. Eisner.
Sorry, spinach.
Ooh.
That looks incredible. And it smells really good too.
Now I personally like to do a little bit on the back,
And
just to kind of
That's a
offset the
chef's
plate.
touch.
Yeah, what do you call the fancy pouring of stuff on the outside?
We call it fancy pouring of stuff on the outside.
All right, it's a good name for it.
Well, for those of you at home, you can do the fancy pouring of stuff on the outside too.
Just you can take the knife, probably just grab a couple.
Oh, I see.
Just use the knife as kind of like your lever.
All right.
So
It's better than just my hands.
that would work. And then just kind of lay it on top.
Very good. That
Wow.
looks amazing.
Beautiful. What
Well,
do you guys
thank you.
think?
I think this
I think
is
I'd
great.
want a portion.
Awesome.
All right, well, pass out the forks.
Your pretend forks.
There's one. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us in the Community Memorial Health System Teaching Kitchen. Be on the lookout for more nutrition and cooking videos, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, should we taste?
You
I've
should
been waiting
definitely
for this
taste.
the whole time.
All right.
After you.
Oh man, there's so many different textures.
Kind of get the sauce on the outside.
I can't keep it on my fork though.
That sauce, Chef.